Alright, everybody, welcome back to another video. Today, we are making a tier list on extinct American railroads here. So, most of these are American. There are a few Canadian ones in there. That's kind of the rule I went for today. So, we're mostly going to focus on American, well-known railroads, no random 2.5 mile railroads. Here. So no connection lines. So these are mostly well-known railroads. I left a few out just for the sake of time and other stuff like that. But this is a majority of the most well-known American extinct railroads in the U.S. right now. So why don't we start right away with the Atlantic coastline? Now, I'm not too familiar with some of the southern railroads, but from what I can tell, this is a pretty decent railroad. They had some unique locomotives, and actually, I've got a few pictures of some of those locomotives in my room, but this is a relatively mid railroad here. Next up, we got the Santa Fe. The Santa Fe, I wouldn't give it the never should have left. It was definitely on the decline. But now that I think about it, some of it had the most iconic locomotives in basically the entire U.S. here. All right, so next up we got the B&O, the first one of the first railroads in America here. The first railroad to use diesel locomotives. But I wouldn't say it's the best railroad. Yeah, they used diesel locomotives first, but I would give it the cool tier here. Next up, we got Central of Georgia. Again, not too familiar with this railroad, so I'll put it in the mid railroad tier. Boston and Albany. From what I know, it is not quite mid. They had some unique locomotives, but from what I can tell, it was kind of a little goofy here and there. So I'll just put it in mid tier here. Boston and Maine here. Boston and Maine. They were kind of iconic, yeah, but the purpose of them, the Minutemen, you can't go wrong with that. I just feel like it's kind of a little goofy railroad that didn't really need to exist here. Next up, we have Central Pacific here. Central Pacific was not a very long-lived railroad because it was usually primarily used to create the Transcontinental Railroad. So for that, it goes up in the never should have left category here. Next up, Central Railroad of New Jersey. They had some pretty cool stuff, but yeah, I would say cool tier for that one. Next up, we got the C&O, the Chesapeake and Ohio. They had some pretty cool. They had the yellow bellies. I'd put them before B&O there. The Burlington route is next here. It was pretty cool. They had some pretty neat stuff. This is one of my favorite railroads here, but for that, I'm going to put it in never should have left here. Now, the Milwaukee Road here. The Milwaukee Road is pretty unique. Some of their locomotives are the most beautiful locomotives that I think ever are. But here they are. We're going to put, where should we put it? Milwaukee Road is cool. Milwaukee Road is pretty cool. Up there. Great Northern Railway. I want to put it in cool only for the reason because, yeah, it was an extreme. It was a massive accomplishment for railroads at that time to cross the United States of America, especially through some of the most treacherous terrain. But I think it gets a little overhyped sometimes, so I'm putting it in cool here. Now the Rock Island. I'm gonna put it in mid, only because it's a mid railroad, middle of the road railroad. Didn't really have anything special. The rockets were pretty cool. They had a few unique diesels. But I'm just gonna put it middle of the road here. Next up, we got the Rio Grande, the DNRGW. If Heist has taught me right, it would go in here. It was mid. I'm sorry, it was mid. Now the Chicago and Northwestern. That is a railroad that never should have left. It's a shame that the Union Pacific took over that railroad. This is a really neat railroad. It literally built Chicago, basically. This is one of the most, how do I say this? One of the most influential railroads of America, the Chicago Northwestern was. Conrail? I can understand it from the point of Penn Central, but other than that, it's mid. Now the Grand Trunk. Okay, now the Erie Railroad. From what I know, it was also another mid railroad. Also was another integral part of the United States, but again, mid. Now the Illinois Central. Another key player, and they had some of the only multiple unit sets, one of the streamliner sets. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I put it in cool here. Now the Lackawanna. I don't know much about the Lackawanna, but it's mid there. So the L&N. I kind of understand where it was coming from, but I'm just gonna put it in why did this happen tier here. The MKT. Oh dear. It was another middle of the road railroad, so I'll put it here in the mid railroad tier here. MOPAC, the Missouri Pacific. I can understand where it was coming from, but there was also a lot of other railroads that it was competing with. It outlived a lot of them, but I feel like it was a little goofy there. New York Central. Never should have left. New York Central was pretty cool. New Haven. Nickel Plate Road. Nickel Plate Road is, I would say Nickel Plate Road's pretty cool. Polar Express. That's pure Marquette. It's Joe Schmo. Basically, Berkshires, known for their Berkshires. I'll put that there. Norfolk and Western. It's cool. Some of their locomotives are pretty cool. But the Norfolk Western was starting to become, it's way better, besides all the derailment and everything, it's way better in Norfolk Southern. I feel like it was a definitely needed merger. So I'll just put it in cool tier, along we can sneak up the Southern Railway up there with him. Next up, we got the Northern Pacific. Again, another one that merged with the Great Northern and the Burlington route to create the Burlington Northern. So in that case, some of their locomotives were pretty unique, but I'd put it in the cool tier here. Next up, we've got Penn Central here. It's better off gone. It was the biggest bankruptcy in the U.S. Biggest bankruptcy in the U.S. Up until probably, I don't even know, it's one of the biggest mishaps in the U.S. Pennsylvania Railroad never should have left. It's a little overrated, so for that reason I'll put it in cool. But they had GG1s and all the nice ones. So yeah, it was pretty cool, but I feel like it could have been better. Seaboard, don't know much about the Seaboard. I'll put it in mid. Spokane, Seattle, and Portland, or Spokane, Portland, and Seattle. I don't understand why this was here. I think it was a subsidiary of the Great Northern. It was kind of like a link railroad. I don't really understand where it was coming from. And now that I'm looking at this chart, I think Missouri Pacific should go up to mid railroad here. Southern Pacific, I think it's a very overrated railroad, but I can understand where some people are coming from, so I'll put it in the cool tier here. Now the Western and Maryland, Western Maryland, I'll put that in mid railroad. Western Pacific, also another mid. Wisconsin and Central. The only reason why I have the Wisconsin Central in here is because I live in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin Central was I think that the Wisconsin and Central is a pretty cool railroad. So I think it should have never left here. Chessie system, basically CSX before CSX existed. I can understand where it's coming from, but I don't know why it existed. Sioux line here bought out the Milwaukee Road. I can understand where some people are coming from, but another why did this happen railroad. Lehigh Valley, another that. Kansas City Southern, these two should have never left. They should have stayed apart. CPKFC should have never existed, I think. Duluth, Mississippi, and Iron Range. Some of their articulateds are pretty cool. First is that, I'm putting in the cool tier. The D&H, first user of steam in the United States of America. That is a never should have left railroad there. Oh, and I forgot to mention before in the video, this is solely my opinion, and I'm not considering like financial hardships. These are simply what I think of the railroad. And you can disagree with me in the comments. I don't really care that much. But yeah, this is just my opinion and stuff like that. So next up we got the Reading lines here. Reading was pretty cool. They had the 2100s. I'll put it in mid there. The Monon, from what I know from the Monon, it was kind of, they used a lot of unique diesels, which made it pretty cool, so I'll put it up there. Simply for the locomotives. Virginian Railway got rid of basically all of their steam, which made this not very cool. But I guess they did conquer the Appalachian Mountains, so I'll put that up there. The Wabash, don't know why that happened. It was kind of the back burner railroad that I think it's a back burner railroad. And then the DT and I here. The DT and I, the DT and I was interesting, but it was another goofy, it was another goofy Michigan railroad, which automatically puts it in why this happened. Well, there you go. That is my tier list here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode, or whatever I do. I don't really know, but I also wanted to say thank you guys for 100 subscribers. I really do appreciate it, and I really love the support you guys have given me so far in my YouTube career here. So I wanted to thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.